What is going on, everyone? This is Sarah coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut. And today we're going to look at the draft pick trade that led to the Cowboys drafting linebacker Sean Lee. Now, this occurred back in the 2010 NFL draft, and you see a lot of green on this board. We will get to it. So basically, going into this draft, I knew that the Cowboys and Eagles made a trade, which doesn't happen often. I also knew that the Eagles led the draft in picks. I think they had 13 picks or something like that in this draft. And I was always curious how they got those picks. Most of it came from this draft, or from this trade. So with the 55th pick, the Dallas Cowboys received from the Eagles, they would go with linebacker Sean Lee. So Sean Lee, he made a splash in one of his very first games as a Cowboy, and he recorded 2 picks against Peyton Manning and the Colts. So he made his name known early. But injuries became a common theme for him. So he had 2 great seasons in 2012 and 2013 before he had to miss all of 2014 with a torn ACL. And he was just a big-time tackler and playmaking machine. But injuries have really held him back in recent years. And he's a starter still, but he's not on the field as much as he used to be. And their hope is Leighton Vander Esch takes over. But Sean Lee's been a great player for the Cowboys. He's not Hall of Fame worthy, but if the injuries never happened, he probably would be in the discussion. He is a 2-time Pro Bowler and a 1-time first-team All-Pro. Now, in exchange for the 55th pick, Philadelphia got the 59th and 125th picks. So we'll start with 125 here. They would select tight end Clay Harbor. Now, Clay Harbor served as the Eagles' second or third string tight end, depending on the year, for 3 seasons, and he was mostly used as a blocker, but he did make a couple good plays as a pass catcher. So, decent player, especially as a 4th-round pick. Now, the 59th pick, they would send it to Cleveland. And with the 59th pick, Cleveland would select running back Montero Hardesty. So, Montero Hardesty, he spent just over 3 years as an okay, but not great running back in Cleveland before being released. Now, in exchange for the 59th pick, the Eagles got 3 picks, 71, 134, and 146. They would only use one of those 3 picks themselves, and that was the 134th pick, which they used on defensive end Ricky Sapp. And Ricky Sapp never played for the Eagles. So, the 71st pick, they traded to Green Bay. And Green Bay got the 71st pick, which they used on safety Morgan Burnett. So Morgan Burnett became became a starter as a rookie, I should say. And he would actually spend 8 years in Green Bay, starting every game he appeared in, which was 102. And, of course, they did win the Super Bowl one time during his time. However, he did not play in the Super Bowl. He had suffered an injury, so unfortunately for him. Now, exchange for the number 71 pick, the Eagles got the 86th and 122nd. Now, unfortunately, with the 86th pick, the Eagles would pick another defensive end, and this would be Daniel Teo Nassim. And Teo Nassim, he only appeared in 6 games for the Eagles. And he gets waived after 6 games, doesn't do much. He goes to Tampa Bay, still doesn't do much. He plays a little bit there, but he actually passed away a year or 2 ago. Tragically, drug overdose. But he was a complete bust on the field for Philadelphia as a 3rd-round pick. With the 122nd pick, the Eagles would pick quarterback Mike Kafka. So Mike Kafka was a 2-year backup in Philadelphia. He didn't see the field much, but he looked decent when he was in the preseason, not great. Considered a high IQ guy, never really developed as a player per se. He is currently the quarterback's coach, I believe, and assistant head coach in Kansas City right now because he's got a close relationship with Andy Reid. Smart guy, but again, doesn't mean he's a great football player. Now, the Eagles, like I said, also got the 146th pick, and they sent that to San Diego in exchange for 2 picks. But with the 146th pick, the Chargers would select defensive tackle Cam Thomas, who would spend 4 years as defensive tackle depth before walking from the team. Now, the Eagles would get the 159th pick and a 2011 5th-round pick. So the 159th pick, they selected wide receiver Riley Cooper, who, oddly enough, had been drafted by the in town team Philadelphia Phillies in the baseball draft that year or the year before. And Riley Cooper, or a couple years before, but Riley Cooper decided to go to college, play football, and he had a solid 6-year career in Philadelphia. Now, he had an excellent year in 2013. That's the year everybody really remembers him for. And, of course, that was the first year under the Chip Kelly system. But he didn't really break out after that, and he gets released after Chip Kelly's gone. So when Doug Peterson takes over, he releases Riley Cooper. So Riley Cooper, though, solid 6 years. Now, that 2011 fifth. So we go to the 2011 NFL draft. And San Diego's fifth-round pick becomes the 149th overall. And with the 149th pick, Philadelphia would select running back Dion Lewis. So in Philadelphia, Dion Lewis spent 2 years as the backup running back to LaShawn McCoy and as the primary kick returner before he was shipped to the Cleveland Browns in exchange for disgruntled linebacker Emmanuel Acho. And Acho for Philadelphia, he actually originally does not make the team, but he does come back shortly thereafter, and he would spend 3 years, 2 years I would say actually, as an injury replacement. He would only really come on when they needed him to. And he's been a very outspoken player since. He was one of the guys who was saying the players should not agree to the CBA. He didn't agree to it. And he's been very outspoken. Now, Dion Lewis in Cleveland, he missed the entire season due to an injury he suffered in the preseason, and then he got cut. So this trade slightly favored Philadelphia, but barely. But that was the Sean Lee trade. Again, a rare trade between the Eagles and the Cowboys that helped the Eagles really pick up some quantity over quality here. Like I said, they got a lot of picks, and this helped them get 5 of their 13 or so picks in this draft. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was Sean Lee Trade. Have a good rest of your day.